Welcome to our podcast episode on self-fulfilling prophecy, where we explore the idea that what we believe about ourselves and our circumstances can shape our reality. In this episode, we'll define self-fulfilling prophecy, discuss its impacts on our lives and relationships, share findings that show that it's not just some airy-fairy wishing, and offer some tips on how to break free from limiting beliefs. Let's start with the definition. Self-fulfilling prophecy is a belief or expectation that influences our behavior in a way that makes the belief come true. In other words, if we believe something strongly enough, it can become a reality, even if it wasn't true to begin with. In psychology, they actually call this, they have a reference to this called confirmation bias, meaning we as human beings search out and acquire evidence that supports what we believe. We want to confirm our own biases. An example of self-fulfilling prophecy is when someone believes they're not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough to achieve their goals. This belief can lead to behaviors that reinforce that belief, such as procrastination, avoiding challenges, or giving up too soon. As a result, they may not achieve their goals, which reinforces that original belief that they're not good enough, hence providing more evidence that original belief is true. As life goes on, we pile up the stacks of evidence, and anytime that someone questions our belief, that evidence is not only referred to, but passionately expounded upon. An example of this in my background is school. I struggled in school with some learning challenges. I gathered evidence to prove this via comparison to my sister, who was one grade behind me, and my brother, who was one grade ahead of me in age. In my mind, they didn't have to struggle at all in school and frankly in life. It's not true, obviously, but that was my perception. That is the evidence that I gathered to support my bias. I continued to convince myself and anyone who challenged me that I was not smart. Sounds ridiculous now, but I did it. Fast forward a few years and I graduated. You would think that the fact that I graduated would be enough evidence to the opposite that I would start believing in myself. Well, no, I convinced myself that the teachers either just liked me or were fed up with me, and that is how I graduated. A few years later, I found myself in a situation where I was in university. This time, though, I was able to get some learning helps. So while it is true and obvious that I must have had good grades to get into university, I believe that the evidence said that I needed help through the university. So the bias, I was still looking for evidence to support that bias that I was not smart. Then over the last decade or so, I had a couple people say that I should go get my master's. And I thought, oh no, master's is for smart people, right? I fell back into that old story, believing that old, and looking for more of that old evidence. No, I would exclaim, masters and all that sort of stuff is for smart people, and I'm not smart. Well, about 29 months ago, I enrolled in a master's program, and wow, I'm still blown away that I graduated with distinction last month. Wow. So self-fulfilling prophecy can also affect our relationships. For instance, if we believe that our partner or friend is going to leave us or betray us, we start looking for evidence to support that, and in so doing, we have a tendency to push them away or to make them feel uncomfortable. The more we act on this belief, the more likely it is to come true, thus reinforcing our fear of abandonment or betrayal. Another story, I have a friend who's an amazing person and has had a few years of trying individuals. He's in the position to hire people for their work, and he's had to hire and work with some difficult people. So he's got this story, basically, this self-fulfilling prophecy, that it's always going to be that way, that he's always going to struggle to get enough staff, and even if he does, they're not going to be there, a good part of the team. Okay, so I was talking to him today, and he was talking about filling these 2 more positions that he's short. While he spoke, you could actually feel this energy of scarcity coming from him. It was tangible, and it even affected his body language. I stopped him and we spoke about it. We talked about how he can change his story and then change the evidence that he seeks to support that story. We change his wording, his posture, he sat up straighter, and wow, what a difference. The conversation took on a total different energy and a different direction, really. So how do we break free from the self-fulfilling prophecy? Now, in that last story, it's only been a day, if that. So obviously those positions aren't filled yet. So we could kind of justify that it didn't work. But allowing the time and the work to make those things happen, that is what the combination. It's not just we sit on our couch and wish for things to work out for us. We put forth the right energy, put forth the right effort, and they come together, and in the right time, it always works out for our best. So how do we break free and go to that, kind of follow that path? One way is to challenge our automatic thoughts and beliefs. When we notice a negative self-talk or limiting belief, we can ask ourselves, is it really true? Or is there evidence to the contrary? By questioning our beliefs, we can start to see them more objectively and create new, more empowering beliefs. One caveat I have, or one warning that I have, is I would, I guess, warn people that the more focus we put on those thoughts and beliefs, the more of that we're going to get. So if we're like trying to control our thoughts and like, I don't want to think about that, in doing that, we're actually thinking about it more. And we're actually attracting that same energy. Okay. So a different way to look at it is just try to notice them. Try to notice those different thoughts and feelings. Just acknowledge them. Acknowledge that they're there. Be curious about it. What caused those thoughts? What caused those beliefs? Be curious about it. Are they helpful? And if they're not, just allow them to leave. Don't force them. Don't push them, because that negative energy will actually make them want to hold on tighter. So another way to break free from self-fulfilling prophecy is to take action. Okay? In spite of our fears, in spite of the challenges or the opportunities that are in front of us, I know we want to procrastinate, we can choose to face them head on instead and see what happens. By taking action, we can build confidence and self-esteem, which can also help us overcome these limiting beliefs. So rather than looking for evidence that's kind of in our environment, we're creating the evidence that we seek. So we define what we want, and then we create the evidence that will lead to us realizing that belief. All right? Again, work is key. Finally, we can seek support from others. Talking to like-minded friends and family members. It's important that they're like-minded, okay? Because otherwise they'll just add to the problem. Or therapists about our fears and struggles. And it's great to get that off our chest. That's actually helpful in and of itself. Often, though, hearing these thoughts out loud, when we speak them out loud, we can actually recognize that they don't make sense or something doesn't add up. So we can actually start being curious and delving into what's causing these different thoughts. Then we can use self-fulfilling prophecy to our benefit, to create the world, to create the circumstance, to create the situation that we want to create. Thank you for following us. Let's create our future. Take care.